Customer First, Value Next. The Executive Playbook for AI-driven Omnichannel Personalization and Customer-Centric Growth. Written by Mariusz Gromada. Copyright 2025 to 2026 by Mariusz Gromada. First edition. This audiobook is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, financial, tax, or other professional advice. The views and opinions expressed are solely those of the author and do not necessarily reflect those of any current or former employer, client, or business partner. Introduction. Data Chaos to Value. Anna's Story. Tuesday, 11:17 a.m. Anna sits in an open-plan office, headphones on yet another conference call. Her boss is pressing her about a delayed project, and in the background, her calendar is packed with meetings. Running through her head are the mortgage transfer, the pending renovation invoices, and one thought: I just need to keep the cash flow in check this month. Her phone starts vibrating. Unknown number. Her colleagues look up, and Anna turns down Teams. "Sorry, another call," she says. From the bank, she mutters to herself and rejects the call. 5 minutes later, a text message. An exclusive personal loan offer. We will call you back shortly. On the tram this morning, while reading a book, a push notification popped up from the app. We can raise your credit limit. Take advantage of the promotional interest rate. Last night, while she was tallying her housing expenses in Excel, an email arrived. Only until the end of the week, a special credit card with a shopping bonus. A week earlier, a push notification about a new flexible savings account, an email about home insurance perfectly suited to your situation, a banner in the app about a simple investment to get started. During a short break, Anna scrolls through her notifications. Email about the card, email about the insurance, push notification about the limit, ads for the account and investments in the app, text message after the rejected call. 2 missed calls from unknown. Limit, card, personal loan, insurance, investments. She ticks them off in her head. They keep calling blindly. Can't they see I'm not interested? I really don't have time for this. In the evening, after yet another call at 8:45 p.m., she had had enough. She goes into the app settings. Turn off marketing notifications. Push. Unsubscribe from the newsletter. Opt out of phone and SMS communications. She checks everything and hits save. She feels a mix of relief and anger, as if she were closing the door on someone who is not listening, only talking louder and louder. In her thoughts, she adds, "Give me a break." A few kilometers away, the same Tuesday, 11:30 a.m., a conference room at the bank's headquarters. On the screen, a slide. Sales campaigns, weekly status, 5.0 million push notifications sent, an additional 4.6 million text messages sent, attempts made to reach 500,000 customers by phone. Great, the reach is solid. We are keeping the pressure on. There are no gaps, someone from marketing says. Only 8% of customers opened the push notifications, someone from the product team says. Let's send them text messages. Everyone will read those. And the fact that only 20% pick up the phone? We need to call more often. More attempts, including evenings and weekends. The head of telesales nods. We can't afford gaps in our outreach. We need to hit everyone, someone from products concludes. We have an excellent product. Everyone should want to know about it. If we skip someone now, we are simply leaving money on the table. The presentation shows sales charts, the number of campaigns sent, and the cost per interaction. There is not a single slide about those who do not buy, who only get frustrated, opt out, and eventually leave, people like Anna. From this room, everything looks like a precise but soulless process. Only the plan and contact pressure matter. From Anna's perspective, it is an intrusive noise she eventually must protect herself from. A different bank. A different Anna. Tuesday, 11:17 a.m. The same reality. A mortgage, a renovation, a packed schedule. Anna sits down between meetings and opens the app to check whether, after yet another invoice from the crew, everything still adds up. At the top of the screen, she sees a simple tile. I can see you're spending a lot on your renovation. Check how to plan this month so there is enough for both the mortgage payment and everyday expenses. She taps it. The app shows a simple forecast, salary inflows, mortgage payments, fixed bills, and the most significant renovation expenses. On the timeline, the point where the balance might become too low is highlighted. The bank offers 3 options: a simulation of the month, spreading the largest card payments into 0% installments with renovation partners, setting a limit for further renovation purchases. After the simulation, a message appears on the screen. If you spread your 2 largest payments for materials over 3 installments at 0%, you will easily pay your mortgage installment and avoid going into overdraft. Anna selects the 2 transactions and accepts the change. The plan is clear. The installment remains the same, part of the renovation costs is divided into installments, and daily expenses stay within a safe range. The app additionally unlocks a 15% discount with partners for future furniture purchases. It will come in handy for those living room lamps. At the end, a question appears. We are glad we could help. In addition to budget alerts, would you like to receive other inspiration and tips from us on how to manage your renovation and furnish your home wisely? Anna hesitates for a moment. She remembers how, a week earlier, in a rush, she dismissed a notification from this bank. Only later did she notice it was a discount for shopping at the home improvement store where she had just left a small fortune. Great, the one time something was really for me and I missed it, she thought then. Now she taps. Yes, I would like inspiration. Finally, a feeling of control over the renovation. This is the help she really needed. A few kilometers away, 11:30 a.m. A conference room at this bank's headquarters. On the screen, a slide. Segment, young and aspiring. In the table, average number of outbound contacts per customer, 0.6 per month. 92% of contacts linked to a specific context, for example, renovation. Opt-outs from push notifications, minus 35% year over year. Overall NPS in the segment, plus 1 point quarter over quarter. Next slide, the numbers the management team likes. Retention of mortgage loans after 3 years, plus 4 percentage points. Current monthly revenues in the segment, plus 5% upward trend. Predicted relationship value, CLV, customer lifetime value in the segment, plus 12%. Strong future potential. Cost of contact per active customer, minus 18%. We help customers calmly pay off what they already have, and at the same time, we make room for sensible purchases with our partners, the presenter sums up. The customer has peace of mind and a better home. The partners have sales, and we have commission and a relationship that grows over time. The same market, similar products. One thing is different. The first question. Not, how do we deliver the campaign plan? Instead, how do we build relationship value? For the customer, the partners, and for us. Customer first, value next. This book is about moving from the first morning to the second, how to move away from the campaign madness that exhausts customers and devalues the brand, toward a customer-first, always-on model based on customer intelligence, a central decisioning brain, and an AI/real-time architecture by default. Digital transformation is redefining the way companies build relationships with customers. This is no longer the future, it is our present. In this new landscape, where everything must be right now, existing operating models and business playbooks have become insufficient. Hyper-personalization is no longer a trendy marketing slogan. It is a critical condition for effectiveness in the new era. Why? Customers no longer expect a company to know what they need. They expect it, and they expected it yesterday. Market data confirms this. 71% of consumers expect personalized interactions, and 76% feel frustrated when they don't receive them. McKinsey, 2021. McKinsey, 2023. The market environment has changed. Banks no longer compete only with each other. Today, we compete with the most recent and best experience the customer has had. Whether it's a streaming app or a global e-commerce platform, the bar keeps rising continuously. As Paul Pappas, IBM iX, aptly put it, the last best experience anyone has anywhere becomes the minimum expectation for the experience they want everywhere. Weinberger and Pappas, 2016. This new reality points to the need for evolution. Companies should systematically move away from a product-centric model. This is not about vilifying the promotion of your own offering. That is a natural part of business. It is about a deeper operational problem, a mindset that starts with the product and its sales plan rather than the customer's real current need. It is precisely this way of operating that leads straight to what I call campaign madness, the continuous bombardment of offers that often miss the customer's current needs. The effect? Instead of building relationships, we construct a wall of fatigue and irritation. It's a direct route to losing trust and, ultimately, the customer. A product-centric approach has worked for years, but in today's environment, it only provides short-term benefits. A strategy that builds loyalty and achieves long-term success must prioritize the customer and their needs above all. But how can you manage that with millions of customers and billions of interactions? The only way to understand those needs in the here and now is deep, automated analysis of the data customers leave, among other places, in our systems. And this brings us to the heart of this book. This book demonstrates that companies do not need a data strategy, but a business strategy with data at its core. The point is to stop thinking about data as an add-on or an IT department. Data, specifically data about the customer, their behaviors, and their needs, is meant to be the bloodstream, the beating heart of the entire strategy that powers every single decision and every action. This is the essence of the customer-first, value-next philosophy. We first focus on the customer, and business value appears as a natural, long-term consequence. Data isn't just IT, it's the bloodstream of your entire strategy. Let me clarify my perspective. My experience, examples, and scars were earned on the front lines in large-scale B2C organizations, in banking, finance, and telecommunications. These industries, with millions of customers and billions of interactions, have become testing grounds for the implementation of analytics and AI at a massive scale. While banking is the primary context, the principles I describe, moving from campaigns to conversations, building a personalization factory, or adopting a data SWAT team mindset, are universal. A reader in retail, e-commerce, media, or any other B2C relationship-based business will easily translate these mechanisms into their own reality. The problem of campaign madness is not unique to banking. It is a common issue across the industry. So, if you represent an organization that 1. Builds its value on long-term, repeatable relationships with customers rather than one-off, anonymous transactions. 2. Manages a complex, multi-channel interaction architecture where the customer moves seamlessly between the digital world, app, web, and the physical world, branch, contact center. And 3. Feels that the existing product centricity paradigm of mass actions, what I call campaign madness, has exhausted its effectiveness and generates more noise and cost than real value. Then this book was written precisely for you. For the last 20 years, the campaign-driven growth model has dominated in large organizations, operating in product silos, batch processing a few times a week, sending to everyone, measuring by number of contacts. That model has done its job, but today it is too slow, too expensive, and too unempathetic toward the customer. Let's call it out directly. This book is a manifesto against an outdated operating model that prioritizes short-term sales over long-term customer relationships. That is our shared antagonist. This enemy takes many forms. In strategy, product centricity overlooks the customer's real needs. In operations, it manifests as campaign madness, which exhausts customers and diminishes the brand. In technology, it appears as a batch processing architecture that is inherently late. In the organization, there are channel silos that compete for the customer rather than engaging in a coherent conversation with them. This book is a plan for how to build its successor, a customer-first, always-on model with a central decisioning brain and AI/real-time in the architecture by default. However, if your goal is to find a technical manual containing a list of technologies, comparisons of data warehouse architectures, or cost tables for cloud migration, I will be honest, this is not that book. This book is a strategic and practical transformation plan that will guide you through change, through a journey that has 4 key stages. 1. Foundations. Why the old rules do not work. First, we will define the new market environment, Chapter 1, and establish the rules for doing analytics right, Chapter 2. 2. Strategy. A new philosophy. Then we will dive into the heart of operations. We will define what customer intelligence for relationship management is, Chapter 4, and map how it generates value across the entire customer journey, Chapter 5. 3. Practical action plan. Tactics and architecture. We will move into the operational part. You will get a complete playbook of 16 analytical tactics, Chapter 6, and the blueprint of the Personalization Factory, the AI by design and real-time by design architecture that can carry all of this, Chapter 7. 4. Culture and proof. The role of people. Finally, we will tackle the most essential piece of the puzzle. We will see how to build a data SWAT team, Chapter 8, and how to deliver hard evidence of the value of our work, Chapter 9. I believe, and my experience confirms this, that at the center of this revolution there must always be a human being. The goal is not to replace people with machines, but to augment them. Technology becomes a megaphone for empathy, enabling a human, personalized approach at a massive scale without losing authenticity. That is why I am deeply convinced that AI will not replace people. Something else will. People who learn to use AI effectively will replace those who fall behind. IBM, 2023. AI won't replace you. A person mastering AI will. This journey is already underway. The question is, are you ready to take part? Mariusz Gromada, Warsaw, December 2025. Who this book is for and how to read it. This book is not an academic treatise. It is a blueprint and a playbook for the transformation you need to lead to win in the competitive customer experience market. This is, first and foremost, a book for chief customer officers and other C-level and senior leaders responsible for customer relationships and growth, such as CCOs, CMOs, CEOs, heads of CRM, heads of customer experience, and heads of growth. You might be the ones dealing with campaign madness every day. Too many messages, too little relevance. And you are the ones with the mandate to shift from a product-centric push to a data-driven, customer-centric relationship strategy. But this kind of transformation won't happen with just the CCO. You need the entire executive team that understands value and risk, along with a data and tech team capable of building the proper technological foundation. First, required reading for everyone. Regardless of your position, I recommend that everyone read the introduction and all of Part 1, Chapters 1 to 3. They establish a common language and define the new rules of the game. Without that foundation, the later chapters will not have full context. After that, you can follow different paths depending on your role and priorities. These are starting points, not walls. Many readers will move between paths. Executive path for C-level and the executive team, especially the CCO, Chief Customer Officer, as well as CEO, CMO, CFO, COO, CTO, CIO. If you are on the executive team, your goal is to understand the vision, the risks, and the return on investment. After the required reading, focus on Chapter 8, Building the Right Culture and Team. Chapter 9, Measuring Real Value and Making the Business Case. These chapters will help you understand why to do this, what the return is, and how to defend this transformation to the CFO, including the return from building trust. If you want a deeper view of how the strategy translates into execution, also skim Chapter 4, Proactively, and Chapter 5, Value Map. Growth/CRM path for Head of Analytics, CRM, Digital, Marketing, Product, Growth. As a growth leader, you have to translate strategy into operations. After the required reading, your core chapters are Chapter 4, Building a Relationship Strategy. Chapter 5, Constructing the Value Map. Chapter 6, The Complete Set of Practical Tactics. You will learn how to go from send to serve and how to choose the best offers for the customer in practice. To strengthen your ability to influence up and across, it is also worth reading Chapter 8, to understand the culture and team you need. Chapter 9, to speak the language of value with your executive team. Platform/data and AI path for head of data, architect, CTO, CIO, and technology leaders. This is the path for technology leaders who must always build it within the context of a business and customer strategy. After the required reading, focus on Chapter 1, Fundamental Design Principles, AI by Design, Real-Time by Design. Relevant sections of Chapter 4, The Data Model and Key Customer Signals. Chapter 6, The Tactics that will drive real use of your platform. Chapter 7, The Architecture Implementation Plan. These chapters will help you design the entire system and automate data science without killing your analytics team. To stay aligned with the business agenda, I also suggest at least skimming. Chapter 8, on Organization and Collaboration. Chapter 9, on Measuring Value and Proving Impact. Part 1, Foundations. Chapter 1, The New Banking Landscape, Speaking the Language of Analytics. What you'll get. A strategic guide for navigating the new market landscape. You will see why today you compete with the last best experience, not just the product. We will create a shared language, 4 types of analytics, and establish 2 pillars to build everything else, AI by design and real-time by design. This book does not aim to be yet another general overview of the 4th Industrial Revolution, 4IR, digital transformation, or grand visions of AI. I begin with a concise 4IR landscape to level the playing field and create a shared language for the rest of the book, especially for leaders who do not live and breathe data, MarTech, and 4IR every day. A brief note before we dive in. Do not be misled by the brevity of this introduction. This section is important, critical. It offers perspectives that may surprise even seasoned 4IR practitioners and establishes the strategic context we'll revisit throughout the book. The 4th Industrial Revolution. Figure 1. The evolution of industrial revolutions, from steam to AI. It shows the main technological shifts across 4 eras, ending with today's revolution powered by AI, data, and connectivity. You can find this figure on page 32 of the printed edition and in the companion materials. According to Klaus Martin Schwab, the founder and executive chair of the World Economic Forum, the 4th Industrial Revolution, 4IR, is the moment when knowledge and solutions across the physical, digital, and biological domains converge. Schwab names 4 pillars of 4IR. Schwab, 2016. Greater independence from borders. The impact of political, organizational, and geographic borders is decreasing. This is a result of technological progress in connectivity and data exchange, the development of transport and logistics, and ongoing regional integration. This is particularly clear in the domains of communication, collaboration, and activity coordination. Easier use of digital systems. Interactions with devices are becoming increasingly natural as interfaces between humans and machines continue to improve. Interesting examples include touchscreens, gesture control, voice recognition, virtual reality, and even thought-controlled interfaces. Enhanced digital tools for the physical domain. Reducing the need for resources and physical interactions increases capabilities, efficiency, and precision in design, production, and management. This is made possible by technologies that integrate digital solutions with the real world. Examples include robotics, 3D printing, smart sensors, and process management. Improved well-being, health, and longevity. The quality and length of life are increasing thanks to modern treatment and prevention methods. Breakthroughs in the life sciences are essential here, driving revolutions in medicine and biotechnology. Examples include gene modification, synthetic biology, regenerative medicine, and wearable devices. Within 4IR, the development of data analytics and artificial intelligence, AI, biotechnology, the Internet of Things, IoT, and decentralization technologies, for example, blockchain, is emphasized as a major driver. 4IR brings new opportunities and challenges for the development of humanity, the natural environment, and social structures. The banking sector is also undergoing profound change as a result. The transformation of banking in the digital era. Figure 2. The evolution of banking models driven by technological revolutions. It illustrates how the historical progression of banking models has been directly driven by the four major technological revolutions, evolving from early local markets to today's information age banking powered by AI and big data. You can find this figure on page 34 of the printed edition and in the companion materials. The fourth industrial revolution means we are part of sweeping changes that radically transform how we live and work. Scientific advances, digitalization, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, and experiences, among other innovations, drive Industry 4.0. These changes not only strongly influence our expectations as customers, but also open the door to new business models. Rising expectations and blurred boundaries between industries stimulate innovation. Access to information is almost unlimited. How do you stand out in such a reality? One of the key factors is data, the ability to process it, and the use of AI. The evolution of customer acquisition. Until quite recently, customer acquisition took place mainly through a network of physical bank branches. Today, a significant share of new customers comes through digital channels, where the first digital experience often has a decisive impact. Social media, websites, and mobile apps have become digital storefronts where companies present their mission, values, products, and services. Marketing strategies are consistently updated, such as through improvements in search engine optimization. Even at this early stage, personalizing communication with a potential customer is essential. Speed of response, data analysis, understanding needs, tailoring the solution, and an easy purchase process. All of this is an effective part of digital customer acquisition, only if it is available at the first click. That is why advanced analytics and AI must always be integrated into marketing automation, programmatic advertising, SEO/SEM, and content marketing. A better understanding of needs and the optimization of the online presence make it easier to pull in customers, which in turn increases the chances of building a strong, long-term relationship. New customer expectations. The pace of our lives is accelerating, and the number of decisions we make keeps growing. We understand and know much more because our networks are broader and we have access to vast information resources. The modern consumer is experienced, informed, and expects things to be better, easier, and faster. They demand that their needs be addressed immediately with high quality and accuracy. The shift from hoping we have what the customer needs to confidently stating that we have exactly what the customer is looking for marks a new era in the business-customer relationship, an era in which personalization and responsiveness are not a nice-to-have, but a necessity. The role of personalization is to make things easier, educate, and inspire, to deliver to customers what they need, even if they are not yet fully aware of it themselves. A positive surprise refreshes and strengthens the customer relationship. Stop hoping you know what they want. They expect you to know. Yesterday. Crossing industry boundaries. Not long ago, banks competed only with other financial institutions, telecom companies with other operators, and companies in general mainly with their direct competitors. Today, the situation is much less clear. In the battle for attention, companies are measured against the best experiences consumers have anywhere, regardless of sector. We can see innovations flowing in from, for example, entertainment or technology. Banks are trying to match or exceed the experiences offered by these leaders. As a result, service quality becomes an end in itself, transcending traditional industry boundaries. Personalization and recommendations, location-based services, intelligent assistance, and even basics such as request status and 24/7 availability. Today, they are essentially expected standards for every business. The competition for experiences goes even further. Partnerships are formed to provide even more convenience and uniqueness by combining the best aspects of different sectors. Your competition isn't another bank. It is the customer's last best experience. Changing business models. Banks are undergoing significant evolution. Part of this impulse comes from fintechs and large technology companies, often referred to as big tech. Estimates show that 70% of the global population uses mobile phones. By the end of 2023, 5.6 billion people were unique mobile service subscribers. The forecast for 2030 is 6.3 billion, or approximately 74%. GSMA 2024. A substantial part of them are permanently connected to the network. Advanced e-commerce platforms and streaming services compel banks to continually adjust their business models. In response, banks attempt to stay competitive by expanding their digital channels, enhancing data processing and analytics capabilities, utilizing increasingly accessible open banking, and forming broader partnerships. The evolution towards super apps. As digital transformation advances, banking channels have shifted from traditional physical branches to online banking through desktop browsers, and now to having a bank in your pocket via advanced mobile apps. In 2024, 67.2% of people in the EU, ages 16 to 74, used online banking. Eurostat 2025. Banking apps have become a key touchpoint, and the finance category is seeing dynamic growth in user engagement and is one of the fastest growing globally. Sensor Tower 2024. Today, these apps are rapidly evolving, often turning into super apps that combine access to banking, financial products and services, and daily life support services into a single platform. Technology is becoming ever more integrated into everyday life. User expectations are also evolving rapidly. Together, these two factors are expanding the definition of mobile banking. Bank customers now expect a mobile app to give them access to a multifunctional platform that goes far beyond viewing and executing transactions. In addition to core banking functions, this platform should offer a range of value-added services, including e-commerce, parking payments, public transport, public services, health, and education. Banks recognize these needs. A great example is the Polish market, where almost all banking apps are already deeply integrated with public services, identity confirmation, applications for social benefits, public transport, parking payments, toll payments for highways, loyalty programs, discount platforms, cinema networks, ticket purchases, and management of active subscriptions for entertainment and productivity. The goal of a super app is to bring all these services together and provide extra value to users. Super apps also enable the bank to redefine the structure of digital interactions. Additional user data provides deeper insights into customer behavior. By analyzing it, banks can better anticipate customer needs and market shifts, and as a result, further tailor their services. This approach benefits both customers, offering more convenience and better personalization, and banks, gaining higher user engagement, retention, and more diversified revenue streams. Fintech. Financial technologies, often referred to as fintech, are innovative solutions for the financial sector that address specific market niches. Fintech companies, usually startups, focus on specialized services. Well-known examples include Stripe and payment processing, Robinhood and investment solutions, and Revolut in the early stage of its development, and currency exchange. Thanks to their specialization and integration of advanced technologies, fintechs can reduce operating costs more effectively, shorten time to service, and redefine the user experience. Big Tech. Technology giants, often referred to as big tech, are the most dominant IT companies. In practice, most often, though not exclusively, American technology firms in social media. For example, Facebook, search, for example, Google, or e-commerce, for example, Amazon. Big tech companies with access to massive customer bases are introducing financial services on their own platforms. As a result, they build an advantage based on network effects. Banks cannot ignore such large platforms because bank customers expect and demand partnerships and service integrations with big tech solutions. Apple Pay and Google Pay illustrate this mechanism very well. Other examples outside the US include Alibaba and Tencent. Building a digital customer relationship with AI. A typical consumer interacts primarily with large companies through digital channels. Each company stores numerous records about that customer in its databases. These records are among millions of others and often look very similar to those in the system. However, each record represents a different human being who wants to be treated in a unique, personalized way. Building customer intimacy through technology is a significant challenge for companies. Incorporating modern CRM tools, behavioral data, and AI into communication strategies can help customers feel heard and understood, which is the foundation of any strong relationship. Striving for an experience that is both personal and scalable. This is what we mean by building digital intimacy in the digital customer relationship. Balancing the ingredients of success, people and technology. Technologies and algorithms are effective and will become even more so. However, they still cannot fully replace the warmth, empathy, and intuition that define human relationships. Technology, including AI, can significantly boost the efficiency, personalization, and scalability of activities. Yet, it is we, humans, who give these activities their meaning and context. Success in building relationships depends on the harmonious integration of advanced technologies with the human touch available across all contact channels. Beyond service quality, it's crucial to recognize that digital technologies, while mostly making things easier, can also exclude parts of society. This is exactly where the support of another human being is most needed. An additional key element is the people who, while determining how advanced technologies are used, also uphold values, ethics, security, privacy, and social responsibility. Human-AI collaboration, the democratization of AI. ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot, DALL-E, and Gemini are examples of generative AI technologies that are already rapidly transforming the world. After an initial period of fear-mongering about threats to the labor market, we are now moving toward a phase of constructive guidance for the change. In the introduction to this book, I emphasized that AI will not replace people, but people who use AI will replace those who do not. IBM 2023. As IBM states in its report, increase productivity through human-machine partnerships. This view is gaining increasing support. Even today, generative AI, Gen AI, serves as a valuable partner, like a co-pilot, at various levels within the organization I work with. Gen AI understands and responds in both natural languages, such as human language, and formal languages, such as programming languages and scientific domains. These capabilities greatly democratize access to knowledge and technology. They simplify, make things more accessible, and boost efficiency, but they do not replace anything. Field research shows that access to a Gen AI assistant increased agent productivity by an average of approximately 14%, and for less experienced agents, even by approximately 34%, a knowledge transfer effect. These results provide empirical evidence of the effectiveness of the collaborative intelligence model, where technology supports rather than replaces humans. The broader market landscape indicates that employees are prepared for this change. As many as 75% of knowledge workers already use AI at work. Agentic Commerce. The transformation described in the previous section, the move towards super apps and the model of working with AI as a co-pilot, is not the only direction of change. In parallel, we are seeing the beginning of another wave of change, Agentic Commerce. This approach evolves from AI that helps with tasks, like a co-pilot, to an autonomous AI agent to which entire decision and purchase processes are consciously delegated. This is a significant shift, from AI that supports search to AI that acts on the user's behalf, independently scanning the market, comparing options, and finalizing transactions to meet their needs proactively. This is not a distant vision. A 2025 report by the Boston Consulting Group, BCG, indicates that this trend could reshape e-commerce. Already, 81% of consumers expect to use AI tools for shopping, and 42% are ready to grant an agent full autonomy in at least one product category. BCG estimates that around 18% of e-commerce spending could be driven by autonomous agents. Batra et al., 2025. BCG illustrates this shift as an evolution in 4 main steps. In brief, Step 1. Research Assistant. The consumer uses Gen AI to find and compare products, but completes the purchase in-store on their own. Step 2. Purchase in the AI interface. An AI agent enables the purchase directly in the chat interface without leaving the AI application. Step 3. Minimal supervision. AI starts the process. The agent detects a need, such as running low on supplies, and purchases within user-set boundaries. Step 4. Full optimization. The agent autonomously makes purchases and intelligently optimizes payments, such as selecting the card with the best cash back or using loyalty points. The key question then is, why would consumers give up this control? BCG's research suggests that trust is critical and depends on factors such as high product familiarity, easy returns, and minimal risk of error. All of these factors come down to one key factor: trust. Agentic commerce will thrive where risk is low and convenience is high. For banking, this may mean a significant shift in role. Beyond being a payment provider, there is both a challenge and an opportunity to become a trusted financial agent. At the same time, this creates risk because specialized payment operators are already building similar capabilities. What agentic banking could look like. Once we went to the bank in person, then we called them, then we logged in, and today we carry it in our pocket. Agentic banking is the next step, a bank we talk to, and one that, in our context, thinks, suggests, and acts. The smartphone recedes into the background as a secure hub for authorization and settings, while everyday interaction becomes micro-gestures, voice, and context. The smartphone screen is for thinking. A watch or ring is for clicking. Today, an AI agent is mainly an assistant that executes simple commands, but it can quickly grow into an advisor. It starts managing the customer's everyday finances, but in sensitive decisions, there is still a human in the loop. The point is for the intelligence to sit on the bank's side, not only on the device's side. The agent prepares the recommendation, the human takes responsibility. At present, banks are ready to deploy AI agents only for simple, well-defined processes. We are at a point where top banks already have a dozen or more significant use cases, but humans still manage most of the traffic. Wearables provide the AI agent with a new stream of contextual data and an ultra-low-friction interface, a single glance or gesture instead of a full login session. The biggest challenge is not the device itself, but the consistent orchestration of the customer experience across these channels. The more channels there are, the higher the complexity and cost, unless there is a single central decisioning brain and a single agent orchestrating communication and directing the customer to the most effective channel. At the technological level, this will be an ongoing evolution. Still, at the customer experience level, we will experience a series of small revolutions. Step by step, it will suddenly become clear that we talk to the bank more often than we click it. Agentic banking, therefore, remains, for now, a directional hypothesis, a vision of a bank that is present in the background of daily life, not just at the moment of logging in. The future of banking isn't clicking, it is talking. Quantum computing, between myth and pragmatism. While agentic commerce is beginning to transform current interactions, on the distant horizon we can see the outline of another, potentially much more powerful technology: quantum computing. Although it still sounds like science fiction to many, discussions about its impact on business are already underway. To assess where we really are, a historical analogy is helpful. In 1969, when humanity landed on the moon, the first signal was also sent over ARPANET, the predecessor of the Internet. No one could have predicted then that 56 years later we would live in a world where artificial intelligence speaks our language, powered by a global data network. In the development of quantum computing, we are probably today at the stage of the early 1980s. We have foundations. However, we still cannot fully realize this technology's potential. For the world of business and banking, this technology brings a dual perspective. First, a fundamental threat. Modern encryption, such as RSA, which secures all digital banking, depends on the difficulty of factoring large integers. Unfortunately, one of the few known quantum algorithms, Shor's algorithm, can solve this problem. This means that a quantum machine with sufficient power could break current protections. Second, a distant promise of computing power. Today's AI uses probabilistic strategies, such as multiple starts from different points, to approximate the best result. Quantum computers promise to find global optima for problems that are currently too complex to solve. For banking, this could mean a revolution in tasks such as investment portfolio optimization or complex risk modeling, and further down the line, in CRM personalization. However, it is essential to emphasize that we still lack guarantees or ready quantum algorithms for most of these business problems. When it comes to the time horizon and engineering realities, we must remain pragmatic. Despite massive investments by giants such as Google, IBM, and Microsoft, a key problem remains unsolved: error correction. Qubits are extremely sensitive to noise and decoherence, which can introduce noise into calculations. Until this engineering problem is overcome, current machines will remain prototypes rather than business tools. Although companies such as IBM publish roadmaps aiming for around 2030, from a strategic perspective, this is not a problem for tomorrow. It is, however, a challenge that we need to begin to understand today. Types of business analytics. Most leaders broadly refer to data analytics, often blurring the lines between very different capabilities. While we all know the standard definitions from MBA textbooks, descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive, knowing them isn't the problem. The problem is execution. In practice, most banking reports remain stuck at the first level. Let's briefly recalibrate our language to understand exactly where the trap lies. Descriptive analytics. What happened? The comfort zone. What happened? Most organizations stop here because it is safe, but it drives little value. Figure 3. Descriptive analytics. Focus. Reporting the past. It illustrates that descriptive analytics mainly summarizes past data to explain what occurred. You can see this figure on page 47 of the printed edition and in the companion materials. Descriptive analytics is the core of most analytics processes. It uses historical data and descriptive statistical methods with an emphasis on summaries, visualizations, and presentations across different dimensions and measures. It can be conducted as part of ad hoc data exploration or as part of a systematic report. Examples include reports on revenue and sales with a focus on comparisons against similar periods. The main goal of descriptive analytics is monitoring, for example, sales levels. Descriptive analytics typically does not answer the question, why? Diagnostic analytics. Why did it happen? The rear-view mirror. Why did it happen? Often traps teams in analyzing history rather than shaping the future. Figure 4. Diagnostic analytics. Moving from observation to root causes. It shows how diagnostic analytics goes beyond simply observing what happened to identifying the root causes of an event. You can find this figure on page 48 of the printed edition and in the companion materials. Diagnostic analytics is an extension of descriptive analytics that aims to explain why a given event occurred. Why did our sales drop? Why are cloud computing costs increasing? Why is employee turnover rising? These are examples of questions diagnostic analytics can answer. Effective diagnostic analytics starts with generating a set of initial hypotheses, which are then explored and refined using descriptive data analysis. Diagnostic analytics is targeted and designed to answer a specific question, so it does not lend itself to automation easily. Another critical limitation of both descriptive and diagnostic analytics is that they do not incorporate a future context. Predictive analytics. What might happen? The unused potential. What might happen? Often treated as a science project rather than a business input. Figure 5. Finding value at the edges. How predictive analytics targets high potential and high risk. It illustrates that while traditional statistics focus on averages, predictive analytics unlocks significant business value by identifying outliers that represent high risks and high potential opportunities. You can find this figure on page 49 of the printed edition and in the companion materials. Predictive analytics, as the name clearly suggests, addresses the need to predict future events. It is performed using advanced analytical methods applied to appropriately prepared historical data to find patterns and correlations. The result is predictive models capable of making a wide range of estimates. What is the probability that a given customer will stop repaying their mortgage? What is a specific customer's propensity to buy a given product? What is the risk that a given transaction is being conducted without the customer's knowledge and consent? What level of sales do we expect next month? Clearly, predictive analytics has advantages, but it is not without limitations. Figure 6. From hindsight to foresight, the evolution to predictive analytics. It shows the strategic shift in analytics from hindsight, understanding past events and their root causes, to foresight, which helps organizations predict future outcomes. You can find this figure on page 49 of the printed edition and in the companion materials. Predictive analytics applies past patterns to the future and can make significant errors if behavior patterns change, for example, due to sudden events or the arrival of a new competitor. It is also limited to the contexts present in the training data. It rarely explains the whole phenomenon. For example, a person who is a customer of many banks buys one product in Bank A and another in Bank B. In addition, predictive analytics does not provide a recipe for what to do directly with a given prediction. Prescriptive analytics. What do we want to happen? The game changer. What should we do? The only analytics that actively generate value, moving from passive advice to automated execution that directly impacts the P&L. Figure 7. The whole evolution from passive observation to prescriptive analytics as active decision-making. It illustrates the full maturity model of data analytics, highlighting the shift from passively observing and diagnosing past events to predicting future possibilities and actively making decisions. You can find this figure on page 50 of the printed edition and in the companion materials. Prescriptive analytics is the most advanced and strategic type of analytics. While predictive analytics forecasts the future, prescriptive analytics actively influences it. It combines three key components. 1. A forecast from predictive analytics. What might happen? 2. A business objective. For example, what do we want to happen, such as maximizing profit or minimizing risk? 3. Constraints and rules. For example, budget, regulations, production capacity. Using optimization techniques, prescriptive analytics analyzes different possible scenarios and recommends the best course of action. A good example is the next best offer (NBO) model. Based on predictive models, propensity to buy different products, the objective, maximizing customer value, and constraints, for example, no more than one contact per week, the prescriptive system prepares final personalized proposals for the customer. For example, offer customer X loan Y during the phone call. Customer-centricity, from product to experience. Companies have long organized their structures and processes according to a product-centric paradigm. This approach has many advantages. Internally, it is transparent, easy to plan, and easy to monitor in execution. Many product-centric organizations introduce elements of customer centricity into their day-to-day work. For example, by designing products and services together with customers based on research into their needs. Why, then, is the new customer-centric paradigm gaining importance? What makes many companies gradually migrate in this direction? For structure, internal processes, budgeting, and monitoring, it is undoubtedly a challenge. In theory, a product-centric model can deliver everything that follows from customer centricity. In theory only. In practice, this model makes it easier to forget about the customer and their real needs. And when it is easier to forget, you fail more often. Volumes and margins are budgeted and monitored by product line. A product-centric organization focuses mainly on promoting its products. It wins in the short term. A customer-centric one prioritizes the individual customer, their needs, and their experiences. It wins in the long term. Introducing customer centricity is a resource-intensive, continuous process. Figure 8. The paradigm shift from a mechanical product focus to human-centric personalization. It shows that organizational transformation is a continuous spectrum, shifting from operating as a rigid, volume-focused transactional machine to functioning as an empathetic, data-driven entity centered on human relationships and lifetime value. You can find this figure on page 52 of the printed edition and in the companion materials. You can imagine a scale from left to right. On the left is a paradigm that is 100% product-centric, and on the right, one that is 100% customer-centric. Where is my organization on this scale? What needs to be done to keep moving toward the right-hand side? AI as the architect of experiences. AI by design. The concept of AI by design means integrating artificial intelligence into processes and systems from the very start of their design. The idea is for AI not to be an add-on, but a foundation. This very often forces a change in both technology and business architecture. In practice, instead of gluing an AI module onto an existing rigid process, for example, to improve customer selection for a campaign, an AI by design approach builds the process around AI. Artificial intelligence becomes the central decisioning brain. Humans set strategic objectives and boundary rules rather than thousands of individual regulations. AI by design refers to processes and systems designed from the ground up with AI's fundamental role in mind, rather than merely extending existing solutions with AI features. The latter approach will be transitional. The former will bring a revolution in how business processes are executed. IBM 2023. Furthermore, the initial formal frameworks for AI development are already emerging, as seen in ISO/IEC 42001:2023 and the NIST AI Risk Management Framework 1.0. ISO-42001, NIST 2023. AI predict, automate, generate. Figure 9. The 3 pillars of value creation via AI: predict, automate, and generate. It demonstrates that artificial intelligence creates business value through 3 key capabilities: predicting future outcomes, automating processes, and generating new ideas, content, and solutions. You can see this figure on page 54 of the printed edition and in the supplementary materials. AI Predict covers AI applications that analyze data to predict events, behaviors, needs, and simulations, or, more broadly, the future. It uses advanced analytical and statistical models, as well as machine learning. Predictions are widely used across CRM, risk, and IT security. AI Automate is the use of AI in business processes that typically require significant human involvement. It leverages cognitive methods, behavioral biometrics, natural language processing, and generative techniques. AI-driven automation is widely used across operations, complaints, and customer service. AI Generate is the use of AI to create new content or creative insights/products through the simulation of human intelligence. It uses generative AI methods. Generative methods are increasingly used, for example, in IT solution prototyping, data analysis, language simplification, the creation of marketing communications, copy and images, and the generation of insights that support customer service. The real-time context, real-time by design. The concept of real-time by design is about designing systems and processes under the assumption that almost all events and interactions must be handled in real time. The goal is to maximize understanding of and responsiveness to the customer's current interaction context. In practice, this means moving away from relying on batch processing, where data is analyzed with a delay, for example, overnight. Instead, you create an event-driven, stateless architecture that can make decisions within milliseconds at the moment of customer contact. From a UX point of view, anything under 100 milliseconds is considered instant, and around 1 second is the limit for maintaining flow. Additionally, reducing mobile page load time by 0.1 seconds can boost conversion rates by approximately 8 to 10%. Nielsen, 1993-2014, Deloitte and Google, 2020. Analogous to AI by design, real-time by design refers to processes and systems designed from scratch to account for the context of real-time interactions, rather than merely extending existing solutions with real-time features. Crucially, this does not mean 100% of the data used to manage these interactions must be processed in real time. It is a pragmatic combination of batch data with the current context. I explain this in detail in the following chapters. Scaling empathy, the human touch in the age of AI. When I talk about scaling empathy, I mean an organization's ability to build personalized, appropriate, and understandable interactions with millions of customers in ways that consider their current needs, emotions, and context. Technology, in particular AI and real-time solutions, enables us to detect signals, understand intentions, and respond faster than ever before. But this is not about automating relationships. It is about technology supporting the human, not replacing them. I believe that digital cannot be dehumanized. It is people who design processes, define operational rules, and are responsible for ethics. Even if part of the customer journey is fully digital, the customer should always have the option to contact another human being. It is this human touch that builds trust, and trust is the foundation of every relationship. Scaling empathy is not about replacing emotions with an algorithm. It is about technology enabling us to apply a human approach at a much larger scale, without losing quality or authenticity. Technology isn't just an automation tool. It's a megaphone for empathy. What you'll take away. An understanding that the key battlefield is experience, not product. You have a strategic foundation that puts the customer at the center. Customer first. You also have the pillars of the new architecture, a shared analytics vocabulary, and 2 design principles, AI by design and real-time by design. You are ready to move from why to how and start building measurable value next, on top of this foundation. You have been listening to the Customer First, Value Next. Text, translation, and typesetting, Mariusz Gromada. Cover design, Aleksandra Rzeszowiak-Klimiuk. Copyright 2025 by Mariusz Gromada. First edition, Warsaw 2025. ISBN 978-83978-99858. Audiobook 978-83978-99827. eBook 978-83978-99810. Paperback 978-83978-99803. Hardcover. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, photocopying, recording, or otherwise, without the prior written permission of the copyright owner, except for brief quotations used in reviews or scholarly works and specific other non-commercial uses permitted by applicable copyright law. This book is intended for informational purposes only. It is sold with the understanding that the author is not engaged in rendering legal, financial, tax, or other professional advice or services. If professional advice or other expert assistance is required, the services of a competent professional should be sought. The views and opinions expressed in this book are solely those of the author and do not necessarily represent the views of any current or former employer, client, or business partner. Acknowledgements. Working on this book has been one of the most demanding, yet also one of the most fascinating journeys of my professional life. I want to thank my family for their tremendous patience. Without your unconditional support, I would not have been able to combine everyday responsibilities with pursuing my passions and goals. I would like to thank all the mentors who have appeared along my path. Your guidance has helped shape the way I think and see the world. I also thank my team for the outstanding work we do together each day, for continually finding comfort in discomfort, and for truly acting as one team. As with any acknowledgements, it's impossible to name every wonderful person I've had the pleasure to work with. Such a list would never end. Therefore, I mention those who have had a powerful impact on who I am, how I think, and what I have achieved. Those closest to me. Iwona Głowacka-Gromada, for being wonderful and giving meaning to everything. Jan Gromada, for your trust and openness to my help. Bożena and Roman Gromada, quite simply, for bringing me into this world. Danuta and Jan Głowacki, for Ivanka, the best gift I could ever have received. Leaders and mentors. Maria José Campos, for inviting me into this world and for an immense dose of learning. Antônio Pinto Jr., for giving me wings and the space to fly. João Braz Jorge, for your constant support and the lessons that come from observing you. Jarosław Herman, for the gifts and for always keeping your door open. Fernando Bicho, for a different perspective and an excellent sense of humor. Wojciech Haza, for charisma, courage, and honesty. Magdalena Zmitrowicz, for that incredibly kind word and gesture. Wojciech Rybak, for the passions we share, not only in business. Andrzej Gliński, for the opportunity to get to know so many family businesses. Colleagues and business partners. Halina Karpińska, for always aiming to delight. Tomasz Pol, for hundreds of coffees and for accelerating our growth together. Piotr Skopiński, for a unique combination of intelligence, sense of humor, trust, camaraderie, and commitment. Jarosław Tkaczewski, for laying all those solid foundations. Antonio Costa, for support in tough times. Anna Natańska, for how well we made it work. Honorata Byczyńska, for those years together in 5B. Waldemar Jarek, for the way we transformed this area together. Przemysław Kondraciuk, for the added value you bring wherever you go. Robert Chorzempa, for your teamwork. Hubert Tarnowski, for every bench-side consultation. Łukasz Rej, for the HK Warriors. Konrad Kapeluch, for the HK Warriors. Franciszek Hustenczapski, for all your kind words. David Wells, for the strength of a shared purpose. Iwona Jarzemska, for your time, insight, and the green light. My team. Aleksandra Dąbrowska, for the courage to take on the challenge from the very beginning. Tomasz Kubica, for being exactly who you are. Łukasz Bezulski, for our early days together. Marcin Pawlak, for all those events. Katarzyna Rydlewska, for your knowledge, experience, and class. Marcin Bartoszewski, for saying yes, showing up, and living out this mission. Along my career path. Halina Zygmunt, for setting the bar high. Grzegorz Bartler, for toughening me up in investment committees. Marcin Słomka, for Patrick Billingsley. Jarosław Bartosik, for big data, long before the term became fashionable. Academia. Professor Jacek Koronacki, for classification trees and academic signposts. Professor Bogumił Kamiński, for inspiration and for inviting me on this journey. Professor Wojciech Matysiak, for the knowledge that became the foundation of my career. Dr. Daniel Kaszyński, for the motivation to write the first chapter. Friends. Paweł Dawidek, for years of friendship. Jarek Czajka, for Atzabal. Filip Chaya, for helping me keep up with my own plans again. Finally, thank you, reader, for taking the time to join this journey. Mariusz Gromada. Glossary of terms and abbreviations. 3 times more analytics, framework requiring analytics to be more insightful, predictive and prescriptive, dynamic, real-time, and contextual, 360 degrees view. 4IR, Fourth Industrial Revolution, era of converging physical, digital, and biological domains, driving banking transformation via AI and connectivity. Activation rate, survival, metric measuring retention of new customers as active users, for example, at least 1 transaction per month in early months. Adoption rate, percentage of customers activating key digital services, for example, mobile payments, within a set period, measuring habit formation. Agentic Commerce/banking, future model where AI agents execute transactions on the user's behalf, shifting interaction from clicking to talking. AI, artificial intelligence, machines simulating human intelligence used in the factory to predict, automate, and generate. AI by design, principle, embedding AI as the core of processes from the start rather than as an optional add-on. AML, anti-money laundering, regulatory processes to prevent financial crimes supported by behavioral analytics. Analytical sonar, tactic using VOC mining to scan unstructured data, calls, chats for hidden needs and competitor offers. API, application programming interface, standard for software communication, essential for open architecture to avoid vendor lock-in. Arbitration, decisioning, process ranking and selecting the best actions for a customer by balancing propensity and business value. ARPU, average revenue per user, average revenue or margin per active customer in a given period. Attribution framework, model assigning sales credit to multiple touchpoints, originator, assist, closer, to resolve channel conflict. Audit by design, logging every automated decision, input, model score, rules for compliance and transparency. Batch processing, processing data in large scheduled blocks, for example overnight, resulting in delayed context compared to real time. Behavioral data, data on customer actions, transactions, logins, clicks, primary evidence of needs and habits. Behavioral multi-tagging, assigning granular tags, for example, pet owner, to build a dynamic profile for personalization. Behavioral segmentation, grouping customers by observed behavior and mindset rather than static demographics. Behavioral contextual models, models combining history with real-time context, location, journey to select immediate actions. Benchmark fair share, comparing actual market share in a region with its potential based on local presence to find gaps. B1, business intelligence, tools for analyzing business data and presenting actionable information. Blame campaign, anti-pattern, defensively blaming campaigns for poor results instead of examining product fit or processes. Brain, factory component, central engine responsible for decision arbitration and continuous learning. Campaign madness/campaignitis, chronic overproduction of messages and bombarding customers with irrelevant, disjointed offers to meet volume targets, causing fatigue. Capping, rule limiting the number of marketing messages sent to a customer to prevent irritation. CDP, customer data platform, a system that collects and unifies customer data from multiple sources in real time. CES, customer effort score, metric measuring the effort a customer exerted to use a service. Channel orchestration, coordinating all channels through a single decision engine to ensure consistency. Churn rate, attrition rate, percentage of customers leaving, formally or via silent activity drop in a period. CIRM, customer intelligence for relationship management, business process converting customer data into decisions to build value. Cloud computing, delivering computing services, infrastructure, platform, software as a service over the internet. CLV, customer lifetime value, forecasted total margin a customer will generate over the relationship, key metric for long-term value. Conversion rate, CR, percentage of customers completing an action after interaction, measures correlation, not causality. CSAT, customer satisfaction score, metric measuring satisfaction with a specific interaction or product. CTR, click-through rate, ratio of users clicking a link to total users viewing the message. Customer DNA, stable customer profile elements, for example, demographics, products held. Customer first, value next, philosophy that prioritizing customer needs generates business value as a consequence. Customer primacy, status where the bank is the customer's primary institution, salary, daily use, a core CLV driver. Customer primacy rate, percentage of customers for whom the bank is the primary institution. Customer-Centricity Index, CIRM score, self-assessment, 0 to 100, measuring maturity across key CIRM capabilities. Data boundaries, framework evaluating analytics against ethics, law, risk, and trust before using data. Data chaos, initial state of fragmented, uncoordinated data and campaigns. Data lake, repository holding vast amounts of raw data in native format. Data lineage, technical tracking of data origin and movement. Data mesh, decentralized architecture treating data as a product with domain autonomy. Data SWAT team, cross-functional team with business/tech skills and a disciplined, delivery-focused mindset. Data warehouse, DWH, centralized repository of integrated data optimized for reporting. Decision lineage, ability to audit the logic and context behind a specific automated decision. Declarative data, information consciously provided by the customer, forms, surveys. Descriptive analytics, analytics describing what happened based on historical data. Diagnostic analytics, analytics explaining why something happened. Ecological fallacy, error of assuming an individual has the average characteristics of their neighborhood. E2E, digital sales, percentage of sales completed entirely digitally without human intervention. E2E, digital service, share of service processes customers complete independently in digital channels. ETL/ELT, processes moving data from sources to a warehouse. Extract to transform to load, or extract to load to transform. EU AI Act, regulation classifying AI by risk and requiring transparency. Event-driven architecture, systems responding to events in real time. EWS, early warning system, predictive indicators signaling problems like churn before they occur. Explainable AI, AI designed so humans can understand its actions, critical for trust. Explorers, operators, role map, 5 team roles, discovering, challenging, prototyping, refining, and running processes. External data, context from outside the bank, credit bureaus, geodata used to enrich profiles. External portfolio reconstruction, mirror, reconstructing customer portfolios at competitors using transfer data. Factory, personalization factory, ecosystem, senses, brain, voice, industrializing decision-making at scale. Fatigue, customer exhaustion from excessive contact, measured to prevent irritation. Fintech, tech companies offering innovative financial solutions, competing or partnering with banks. Firefight/bottleneck/spam/factory, maturity states defined by analytics and process levels. GDPR, regulation requiring transparency, frames consent as an investment. Gen AI, generative AI, AI generating content, used as a co-pilot for creativity and strategy. Geointelligence, using geospatial data to map potential and enrich profiles. Goodhart's Law, the principle that a measure ceases to be good when it becomes a target. GPMQ, diagnostic tool mapping business processes by analytics and process maturity. Hallucination, Gen AI producing false or illogical information, requires supervision. Hand's Law, principle that manual modeling scales poorly, requiring automation. Hyper-personalization, delivering one-to-one relevance in product, service, advice, and content via real-time data. Ignition, system listening for customer events to trigger decisions. IDR, identity resolution, linking data from different channels to a single profile in real time. Inbound first marketing, triggering interactions by customer actions/context rather than a schedule. Incremental ROI, financial return on incremental sales only after costs. IoT, Internet of Things, network of connected devices feeding data into the ecosystem. JTBD, jobs to be done, theory that customers hire products to achieve specific life goals. KPI, measurable value, demonstrating effectiveness in achieving objectives. Latency, delay between action and response, key real-time SLA metric. Lift, performance comparison of a model-selected group versus a random group. Lookalike, finding new customers sharing characteristics with high-value ones. MAB, multi-armed bandit, algorithm dynamically balancing exploration and exploitation of offers. Market benchmark, comparing performance against competitors to identify gaps. MGM, member get member, referral programs where customers acquire new ones for rewards. Micro-batching, processing data in small batches to approximate real time. Minimum delight product, MDP, product mindset, prioritizing delightful experience over bare functionality. Mirror engine, tactic reconstructing competitor portfolios via transfer/credit data. ML Ops, practices for deploying and maintaining ML models at scale. MMM, marketing mix modeling, statistical analysis of mass marketing's impact on sales. NBA/NBO, next best action/next best offer, optimal action/offer selected and prioritized by the decision engine. NLP, natural language processing, AI understanding and processing human language. NPS, net promoter score, metric measuring loyalty, treated as a lagging indicator. Obsession with target group size, anti-pattern equating success with larger campaign. Omnichannel, ensuring a consistent experience across all channels, unlike silos. Open banking, PSD2, framework giving third parties access to banking data with consent. Paralysis by analysis, anti-pattern, where endless questioning blocks decisions. Persuadables, customers who react positively to communication, source of incremental value. Predictive analytics, estimating what might happen, for example, churn, purchase. Prescriptive analytics, suggesting optimal actions to achieve a goal. Price sensitivity models, estimating sensitivity to price changes for dynamic pricing. Product centricity, model focusing on selling products, push, rather than needs, pull. Propensity model, statistical prediction of the likelihood to act. Real-time by design, architecture processing data in milliseconds for the current context. Reach/recommendation coverage, KPI, for the percentage of customers with a ready NBA. Recommendation engine, system, ranks all offers for a single customer. Relationship quality, KPI, metrics measuring relationship health, primacy, activation, etc. Retention, strategies protecting the customer base and reducing churn. Return on consent, delivering value back to customers for their data, trust. Risk by design, embedding risk controls into AI development and runtime. Rogue database, an unofficial department-built mini data warehouse that exists outside the enterprise data architecture. Rogue spreadsheets/shadow CRM, anti-pattern of advisors using private data files bypassing the central system. RPA, robotic process automation, software robots automating repetitive tasks. Scalability gap, problem of data growing faster than analytical resources. Senses, factory component, input layer collecting signals and identifying users. Silent churn, stopping usage and moving activity without formal account closure. Simple is complex is simple, hiding internal complexity to simplify user experience. Sleeping dogs, customers are likely to react negatively if targeted. Super app, single app offering banking, lifestyle, and third-party services. Survival models, predicting time until an event, for example, churn. Team DNA, hybrid business/tech skill mix for the CIRM team. 3 lines of defense, churn prevention framework, engage, develop, retain. Time to value, months until a customer becomes profitable. Tribes, customer groups sharing a common mindset/behavior. Tuning, automated experimenting and calibrating of AI models. Uplift, incrementality, net causal impact of an action versus a control group. Uplift models, models predicting behavior difference with versus without treatment. Value next. Business value follows naturally from prioritizing the customer. VAS, value-added services. Non-core services, for example, parking, increasing engagement. Vendor lock-in, dependency on a provider blocking evolution, requires exit plans. Voice factory component, output layer delivering personalized interactions. VOC, voice of customer. Data where customers declare intentions or needs. VOD, voice of data. Insights from quantitative behavioral/transactional data.